بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. In the name of God, the Merciful, the Beneficent, all prayer and praise is due to the Prophet Muhammad and his holy household. In commemorating the Dharba of our Imam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, first and foremost, I extend my condolences to our Imam al-Asr wa Zaman al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, and to the rest of my brothers and sisters in faith. Taking a few points from Amir al-Mu'mineen's life, and I stress the concept of a few, because if we want to focus on the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it would take us lifetimes. Even though he only lived to the age of 61, 62, 63, depending on the narrations you follow, nonetheless, the amount that he achieved within that time cannot be understood, pondered on, or fully comprehended within our lifetime. Matter of fact, it's been 1400 years, and we still extract more and more information from Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhim, specifically Amir al-Mu'mineen. It should go without saying that being the individual that he was, and in the position that he was, the closest to the Prophet bar none, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi says, "Ana wa aliyum min shajaratin wahida, wa sa'irun nas min shajarin shatta." Me and Ali are from one tree, meaning that we're from one soil, from one source, and the rest of humanity is from different sources, from different trees. We read in the Quran reads in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 67, "Ya ayyuha ar-rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa in lam taf'al fama ballaghta risalatah, wallahu ya'simuka min an-nas." The verse reads, "O Messenger of Allah, proclaim that which has been sent down to you from your Lord, and if you do not do so, if you do not proclaim it, then you have not conveyed your message. Allah will protect you from mankind. Ya'simuka min an-nas, from the people." Now, usually when it comes to this verse, we remember this verse during Bay'at al-Ghadir, which is followed by "Al-yawm akmaltu lakum deenukum." Today is the day where I have perfected to you, or for you, your religion. However, when we want to look at the significance of Amir al-Mu'mineen, to me, I think it's extremely important for us to look at this verse. First and foremost, the Quran here comes with a very assertive tone. It tells the Prophet, "Balligh ma unzila ilayk." It is commanding the Prophet to tell the people, to proclaim that which has been sent down onto him. Then it tells him, and if you do not do so, if you do not proclaim, if you do not announce what we have told you, what we have given you, then you have not delivered your message. So the Prophet by this point has been delivering his message for 23 years, 25 years, for 20 odd years. However, it all comes down to this one single moment. So all of the message that he delivered, the battles, the trials, the tribulations, all come down to this one specific moment where Allah is telling him, proclaim, inform, tell the people. So the thing that makes us, or that should make us wonder is, what is the significance of this message? Or what is the significance of the small thing that the Prophet has to proclaim? And if he does not proclaim this one thing, then he has not delivered his message. Then the Quran, it's as if it's answering a concern within the Prophet, a concern that dwells within the Prophet. When the Quran tells him, "Wallahu ya'simuka min an-nas," and Allah shall protect you from the people. So it's as if whatever the Prophet is trying to announce or needs to proclaim, that the people will not take over well, that the people will not accept well. However, the Prophet must proclaim it because his message relies on that proclamation. We know from the narrations that that is the proclamation of Man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla. Whoever I have wilaya over, whoever I have sultan over, whoever I have dominion over, then so does Ali. In the narrations, they say that the Prophet, when he first addressed the Muslims, he says, Man mawlakum? Who has dominion over you? Who has rule over you? Who is your mawla? And the Muslims answered, Allahu wa Rasuluh. Allah and His Prophet. We read in the narration, then the Prophet says, therefore, if Allah is your mawla and I am, by extension, the Prophet of Allah, who is also your mawla, so is Ali ibn Abi Talib. And the Prophet ﷺ placed Amir al-Mu'mineen in his stead according to this narration. What does that mean? We read in the Quran says, Allahu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim. Meaning what? Ar-Rasulu, my apologies. Ar-Rasulu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim. That the Prophet has more right over the individuals, over the believers, than they do over themselves. How does this work? That means that if I was to do something, and the Prophet comes and tells me, do not do this thing, or if I want to marry someone and the Prophet tells me do not marry this individual, then I do not have the right to contradict the Prophet. Why? Because he has dominion over me. Likewise, if the Prophet tells me pick up your arms and go to battle, then I don't have the right to refuse. Why? Because the Prophet has dominion, has control, has power, has authority over me. The Prophet gave that exact authority to Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. When we take that into consideration, the fact that Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi had authority over the believers than they do over themselves. He had more right to tell them what to do than they had the right to make their choices or the choices for themselves. And we come to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now, we see that it did not end there. Right? When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he gave the bay'ah to Amir al-Mu'mineen, he forced the Muslims to come and declare their wilayah, to declare their allegiance to Amir al-Mu'mineen. And the historical narration, I'm sure everyone knows it, every man came and shook the hand of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And we have that the second Khalifa, he was standing and saying, Bakhin laka ya Ali, which means congratulations, great, good for you, great for you. You have become my mawla and the mawla of every believer, male and female. Bakhin laka ya Ali, asbahta mawlaya wa mawla kullu mu'minin wa mu'mina. That's for the men. As for the females, as we're aware and as you know that we are refrained or we are told to refrain from shaking the hands of our sisters or from having any physical connections with our Muslim sisters who are not mahram to us. Meaning what? Meaning I can shake the hand of my sister, I can touch my sister, I can hug her, my mother, my aunts, my grandmother, so on and so forth. However, a Muslim sister, a sister that's not mahram to me, then I cannot touch her physically. I cannot have physical contact with her. Therefore, what the Prophet did is he brought a dish of water, a basin of water, and Amir al-Mu'mineen put his hand in one end, and the sisters would come and put their hands in the other end without making actual contact. The contact is done through the water itself. And they would say to Amir al-Mu'mineen that we swear allegiance to you as the Khalifa of the Prophet. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alih. That's one. The second thing is we see, and we have narrated this multiple times, is that the Prophet says, I have left within you the two weights, Kitabullah wa itrati ahl bayti. The book of Allah and my lineage, my offspring, my household. And that they shall not separate until they meet me on Judgment Day. Adding to that, after this verse is revealed to the Prophet, we read that another verse is revealed after that, which is Al-Yawmu Akmaltu Lakum Deenukum. أو دينكم. وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. After all of this had taken place and the Muslims had declared their allegiance to Amir al-Mu'mineen, then the Quran revealed, today is the day. So after you have done the bay'ah to Amir al-Mu'mineen and you have sworn your allegiance to Ali ibn Abi Talib, today is the day that I have perfected your religion for you and completed my favor upon you, and I have accepted Islam for you as a religion. Meaning that up until this point, Islam had not been completed to the understanding where it is considered a full religion. Therefore, whoever leans back from that or moves away from that concept, the concept of the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, does not have Islam in its entirety. Why? And we will refer to yesterday's lecture. In yesterday's lecture, we said that just like we did not have the choice in choosing our God, and we also did not have the choice of choosing our prophet, likewise we do not have the choice of choosing our Khalifa, our leader, our Imam. That is because these individuals are chosen by the Almighty Himself, due to the wisdom within these individuals and the wisdom that Allah sees in choosing these individuals. Hence we read in the Quran, when Allah speaks to Ibrahim alayhi salam after the prophecy and after the message and after the revelations, Allah says to Ibrahim, now I will be making you an Imam. So the final step in Ibrahim's message is he was made an Imam, a leader for mankind. Therefore, when we look at the concept of Imam, the concept of Imam is a concept of completion to the prophecy itself. That does not mean that it is better than prophecy, وَلَيَعُذُ بِاللَّهِ. Absolutely not. However, Imam completes, perfects the message of the prophet. Hence we see every prophet has had his disciples. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is no different than the previous prophets. Yes, he's in a better standing. Yes, he is the favorite prophet. Yes, he's the final messenger. However, he goes according to the same sunnah, to the same method that was put by Allah Jalla Thana'u for creation. And that is very simple and very clear to see. Allah descends His message upon mankind. In turn, mankind follows that message. However, that message is perfected and it's ensured to continue after the Prophet through the disciples. And just like Musa, wa Nuh, wa Isa, all of them had disciples, so did the Prophet salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. However, the issue in Islam fell after the passing of the Prophet Muhammad, where certain individuals rushed and left the Prophet unprepared, without burial, in fear, as they claim, in fear of there might be a fitna within the mu'mineen, within the believers. And here we see Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam in her khutbah al-kubra, in her lecture in Masjid al-Nabawi, she says, وَالرَّسُولُ لَمَّا يُقْبَرْ, meaning that the Prophet has still not been buried. You quickly ran to form this council that you have. ابتدارا زعمتم خوف الفتنة. ابتدارا means that before anything happened, before the fitna even had a chance, you are saying that, you know what, we are going to solve the issue before the issue became an issue. And in fact, by them doing that, they created the fitna in Islam. They created the fitna in Islam. When we look at the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, in Nahj al-Balagha, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, I accompanied the Prophet before anyone else. And I was to the Prophet the way a baby camel follows its mother, meaning that he did not leave the Prophet's side. Then he says, سبقتكم إلى الإسلام دينا. I was a Muslim, or I was a Muslim before you. I was the first to become a Muslim. And he continues, salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi, by describing himself. However, we will take certain aspects from his life to understand this man, that is Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi. First and foremost, when looking at the life of Ali ibn Abi Talib, you cannot separate it from the life of the Prophet Muhammad. And that's pretty clear to see. Since he was a child, in some narrations, since he was 2, he was taken by the Prophet Muhammad and he was raised by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa until the final days of the Prophet Muhammad, where in the narrations, the Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says the Prophet passed away while his head was between my neck and my chest, meaning that his head was on the Prophet, on the Imam's chest. Not only that, that nearness to the Prophet created certain animosity from certain individuals, including certain wives of the Prophet. We see that wherever the Prophet was, Ali ibn Abi Talib was. Whenever the Prophet was sitting, Amir al-Mu'mineen was next to him. And they would always be whispering to one another, talking to one another. Let's not say whispering, there would always be a form of communication between the Prophet and Amir al-Mu'mineen, as he was constantly receiving knowledge from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This message, this communication, this information that he was constantly receiving from the Prophet placed him at a place that is higher than everyone else. In fact, before his creation, he was already at a place that was higher than everyone else, because he was chosen for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We see in multiple narrations and in certain verses, Allah reveals that there are certain companions, that there are certain individuals who are closer to the Prophet than everyone else. In fact, Allah in the Quran, He says that there is one of you who is the shahid for the Prophet. The Quran says that Allah is the witness and His angels over the message of the Prophet. وَصَالِحُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and the best of believers. In the narration, the best of believers is Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. In another narration, وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ, and he who has all of the knowledge of the book. And then in that second verse, all of the knowledge of the book, in the narration, that is Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And that conclusion is always drawn during the story of Nabi Allah Sulaiman wa Asib ibn Barkhiyah, when the Quran says وَقَالَ مَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمٌ مِّنَ الْكِتَابِ, the gist of the ayah, of course, and the one who has knowledge from the book, meaning partial knowledge, not complete knowledge, I shall bring you her throne before your eyesight returns to you, or sorry, before your blink returns to you, or in some narrations they say قَبْلَ أَنْ يَرْتَدَّ إِلَيْكَ طَرْفُكَ, meaning that before the light returns to your eye, meaning that before you can conceive the sight itself. That is an individual who had ilmum min al-kitab, partial knowledge from the book. And Ali ibn Abi Talib had ilmul kitab. Hence we see Amir al-Mu'mineen when he says, by God, if the veil was removed from my sight, I shall have no doubt. I have no doubt in Allah. I have no doubt in the Creator if the veil had been removed from my sight. And we see that over and over and over during the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen. On a day like this, Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, they narrate that in the last year, in the last Ramadan that the Imam fasted, he salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi used to break his fast one day at the house of Imam al-Hasan, one day at the house of Imam al-Hussein, one day at the house of Zaynab alayhi salam, another day at the house of Kulthum. On this night, the narration says that he was at the house of Kulthum. And Kulthum saw different things that she is not used to from the Imam salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. One thing she noticed is that the Imam would always walk out into the courtyard and look up into the skies and look into the stars. And he would say, هي والله الليلة التي وعدني حبيبي رسول الله. By Allah, this is the day, this is the night that I have been promised by my beloved one, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Then he would go into his room, and they say that he slept for a short time, for a few moments. From a seated position, he was reading, he was doing munajat, and he became tired, so he slept for a single moment. But when he woke up in panic. So his daughter said to him, "What is the issue? What is wrong, my father?" He says, "I just saw your grandfather Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and your mother Fatima, and akhi Ja'far, my brother Ja'far, wa ammi Hamza, wa ashabu Rasulillah, wa hum yaqulun ya Ali ajil فإننا مشتاقون إليك." Oh Ali, hurry up, we really miss you. So she looked at him and she says, "Ya Aba araka tan'a nafsak." I see that you are mourning yourself. He says, "Bunayya, I am not mourning myself. However, they are signs that were given to me by the Prophet, by Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and they are coming to tuition. They are coming true." If we want to look into the history for a second, if we move away from the tragedy for a second, and we'll just look into the history. Amir al-Mu'mineen was killed by an individual that goes by the name of Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim al-Muradi la'natullahi alayh. Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim al-Muradi subscribed to an ideology of Khawarij. The Khawarij are a group of people who rebelled against Amir al-Mu'mineen. And they rebelled against Amir al-Mu'mineen after the battle of Siffin with Muawiyah, where Amir al-Mu'mineen, as we said yesterday, was forced was forced into signing the treaty with Muawiyah. So they declared him a non-Muslim, or they declared him, I don't want to use the actual term, however, it's pretty clear that they declared him a non-Muslim, and they wanted to kill him. There was a female by the name of Qutam. Qutam, her father and her husband and her brother were all Khawarij, and they all fought against Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahrawan, in the battle against the Khawarij, and all three of them died in that battle. So she had unbelievable animosity and hatred towards Amir al-Mu'mineen. She was described as being a very beautiful female, and Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim was madly and deeply in love with her. So when he came to proposition himself to her, she told him, "I will accept under three conditions. One, I want a mahr of 3,000 dinars. Second, I want a male and a female servant. Third, I want you to kill Ali ibn Abi Talib." Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim, he says, "How do I kill Ali ibn Abi Talib? Ali ibn Abi Talib is known for his strength in battle. How do I kill him?" She said, "That's your problem. Come up with a solution." He came up with the idea of striking Amir al-Mu'mineen while Amir al-Mu'mineen was praying. And the reason for that is because Amir al-Mu'mineen was known, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, when he prays, nothing would wave him from the prayer. Nothing would distract him for the prayer. And we know in many narrations, they say while he was praying, he had an arrow stuck in his calf, in his leg, and they could not extract the arrow until he started praying. That's when they extracted the arrow, because salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, when he would pray, he would be cut off from this world. He would not feel anything within this world, even something as big and as major as extracting an arrow from his calf. So he says, the only way for me to get close to Ali is during his prayer. Hence, he bought a sword worth 1,000 dinars, which is extremely important. It's extremely expensive at that time. And he bought poison. And he soaked the poison, and he soaked the sword in the poison for a whole year. He had a group with him, And they decided that they would kill all three individuals in charge, being Amir al-Mu'mineen, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, وعمر ibn al-As. So they sent one to Egypt where Amr was, one to Damascus, and one, who was Abdul Rahman ibn Muljam, stayed in Kufa in order to strike the Imam. Amr ibn al-As was sick, so he did not go out to prayer. He sent someone in his stead. Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, obviously everybody knows, was not the kind of individual that prays truly. When he prays, he'd constantly be looking around. So he saw the attack coming, and the attack landed, they say, on his thigh, and did not kill him. However, as for Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, Amir al-Mu'mineen woke up that day for suhoor, to begin his fasting. They say that his daughter brought him, sorry, not for sahar, for iftar that day, before his iftar, his daughter brought him a plate with laban, which is milk, khubz al-sha'ir, which is wheat bread, milh, or salt, and they say that there was, some say that there was khudar, or green, like vegetables and what have you, and some say those were the only things he had. When he saw that, he looked at his daughter and he says, Bunayya, why is it that you want your father to stand longer in front of Allah? Meaning, why do you want me to be questioned longer than I need to be? And she said, why? He says, Bunayya, know that no individual whose food is luxurious unless he stands longer in front of Allah. ما طاب مأكل مؤمن أو رجل ومشربه إلا وطال وقوفه بين يدي الله. She says, so I went to go pick up the milh. He said to her, leave that and remove these two. Remove the and he says to her, remove the greenery. So he had a piece of bread with a little bit of salt, and he had a sip of milk. She said he spent that whole night, as he usually does, in supplication, in dua to Allah. However, he went to sleep, and he says, Bunayya, I'm going to sleep for a couple of moments. Wake me up when it's time for adhan, before Fajr time. She says, when I went to wake him up, he woke up, and he woke up frightened. So I said to him, what is it, my father? He said to me, Bunayya, I just saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alih and your mother, and they told me that I will be with them soon. And I believe that this is my final days of life here with you guys. Then he says to her, do not fret and do not cry, my daughter, for what is prepared for me in the afterlife is better for me than what I have left here. In the narration, it says that Amir al-Mu'mineen wanted to make his way to leave the house, and there were geese in the house that were gifted as a gift to the Imam al-Hasan or Imam al-Hussein. Kulthum narrates, she says that when Amir al-Mu'mineen walked through the courtyard, the geese started flapping their wings and calling out and yelling out. He looked at them and he says, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, sawa'ih tatba'uha nawa'ih. He says, to Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. Screams that will be followed by wails, by mourning, by the wails of mourning. She says, then he went to try to open the door. However, when he opened the door, the door got stuck in his belt, and it made his belt come undone. Now, it's not belt in the sense that we understand today. The Arabs used to wrap a stash around their mid-waist. So he says, اجدد حيازيمك للموت فإن الموت لاقيك ولا تجزع من الموت إذا حل بناديك فكما أضحكك الدهر كذلك الدهر يبكيك. He says, tighten your belt for death is surely will meet you, or for death will surely meet you. And do not fret from death if it comes to meet you. Just as the world has made you laugh, it will surely make you cry. She says, he left to the masjid, so I went to Imam al-Hasan and Hussein and I informed them. They followed the Imam, and he swore to them, or he did qasam upon them by their grandfather, to return home and not to follow him. The narration says that once he entered the masjid, he went and he woke up the Muslims, and he went to the mu'dhana and he did the adhan. Then when he came back, the La'in Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim was sleeping on his stomach and was hiding the sword under him, under his cloth. The Imam looked at him and he says, Ya hada, as-salat, as-salat. Go up, get up for prayer, get up to pray. And do not sleep in such a manner. This is a way of sleeping on your face down on your stomach, is a way that Allah dislikes and His Prophet. And it's the way that the shaitan sleeps. Rather, sleep on your right, that is the way of the scholars. Or on your left, that is the way of the hukama, of the wise men. Or on your back, that is the way of the prophets. Then he tells him, Ya hada, if I wanted, I would inform you of the action you are about to take, which will shake the heavens and earth. They say he went to do his prayers, to do his salat. Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim alayhi la'natullah waited for him until he did the first rak'ah and the first sujood of the first rak'ah. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen was known to take a long time in his sujood and his ruku'. Then on the second rak'ah, the la'in struck the Imam atop of his head. They say Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, when he felt the sword and he fell to the ground, he said, Fuztu wa rabbil Ka'bah. By the Lord of the Kaaba, by God of the Kaaba, I am victorious. And he says, Bismillah wa billah wa ala millati Rasulillah. By God and by the name of God, and on the method and on the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. They say the Muslims rushed. They captured Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim. Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein came, and they carried him. Before they carried him, he told them, your asir, your prisoner, do not harm him. The narrations say that when they brought Ibn Muljim to the Imam looked at him, opened up his eyes, and he said to him, did I do you wrong? Was I a bad Khalifa for you? Did I not give you more? Did I not bestow favors upon you? What have I done for you to do this to me? They say Al-La'in, he cried and he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, are you the one that would save people from hellfire on that day? They say the Imam looked at him and says, yes, Sadaqt, you're truthful, I am the one that saves people from hellfire. They say Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein carried Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi to his home. However, just before they entered the house, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he said to them, Hassan and Hussein, put me down, let me try to walk. Carry me so that I am walking. Imam al-Hasan tells him, why, father? Let us carry you. He says, no, my son. I see the shadow of Zainab behind the door waiting for me to come. And I do not want her to see me in such a situation so that she might not that she might not be afraid for me. The only thing that we can say is, Sayyidi ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, where were you on the day of Karbala, when she saw not Imam al-Hussein being carried, but rather she saw the head of Imam al-Hussein being carried, and the head of al-Abbas being carried, and the head of her sons and her brothers and her family being carried. I ask Allah بحق الحسين الوجيه وجده وأبيه وأمه وأخيه أن يفرج عنا جميعا, and to protect all of us during this time and this tragedy. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, to remember me and my parents in your dua. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات وأرواح من مات على الهدى والإيمان رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. صلى الله على محمد وآل